Okay, team, welcome back to the Anchor of the Week, where we have hard conversations, hear people's stories, and challenge perspectives. My name is Zach.
And I'm Courtney.
And we have two special proper lads today as our guests. Guys, we are so honored to have you. Thank you so much for your time. Would you like to just introduce yourself? Nathan, you can start.
Yes.
A bit about yourself and what you do.
Yes, I'm Nathan. I'm from Northern Ireland originally, from Belfast, born and raised. But I was brought to Liverpool 5 years ago, and now I'm a part of Victory Outreach. It's a church here in Liverpool, and I'm a part of the youth team. I lead the youth, and I do many different types of ministries that we're going to probably talk about. So
Love it.
Hey guys, my name is Sean. I come from Ireland and Dublin, and I came into this ministry 2 years ago, and I'm part of the youth team here
Awesome.
in Liverpool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool.
Yeah. So we are at Victory Outreach Church in Liverpool. This
Yes.
is part of our Liverpool adventure.
Same.
And we met these guys earlier this year. We came with the team from our church, from Hope and Anchor. And then teamed up with you guys, started doing ministry with one another. And honestly, we were so inspired by everything that was happening here, what you guys are doing here. We're going to dive into all of that today because we know that you guys watching are going to get inspired too. And hopefully challenged, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things we wanted to start with was the recovery homes and that whole kind of, I don't know if you want the program, if you like. So I know both of you lads went through that yourselves, is that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to just give us a breakdown of like what it is, talk us through like who goes for what, and give us a little brief of, what that looks like basically, yeah.
Yeah, I'll start. So the men's home, basically, it is a recovery home.
Yeah.
It's also like a discipleship house. Because when you go in, basically the whole purpose of it is to get a relationship with Jesus.
Right.
But there's a lot of different factors around that that come into play as well. So you get people from many different backgrounds. You get people from drug addiction. You get people who struggle with mental health. You get people who struggle with like suicide, or just any sort of pleasurable thing that the world can offer. Someone who basically has formed an addiction, that can't get out of it and needs some help. So that's why they come. They don't come first and foremost to get a relationship with Jesus. That's not what they come for. They come just to get away from whatever they're battling with or whatever they're struggling with. And I know for me that's what happened with me. I came from Northern Ireland, and I was crying out for help because, there was no other real place I could go.
Right.
Like literally, I had sort of burnt every bridge that I had, and I ended up in like a prison cell. I was addicted to drugs. I was suicidal and many different things. So my only option was to come to the recovery home.
Right.
My family wouldn't take me. My friends had enough of me. So this was my last resort basically, and this is my only option. So I went into the recovery home, and different things took place, but the most important thing is I got set free.
Right.
I got released from all them addictions and all them different things, and I began to cultivate a relationship with Jesus, and that's basically what the program, the recovery home, done for me.
Yeah, for me it's the same. I was lost, I was broken and had nowhere else to go,
Yeah.
And through people like you'll see a lot of Irish come over here.
Yeah.
From the recovery, to the recovery home, and people that are just in addiction and suicidal, and that was my situation too, and I was broken, and then when I came, I made a phone call, and I was over the next day.
Wow.
Over to Liverpool. Yeah.
Wow.
They take you straight away. Other places will have you waiting months,
Yeah.
and some people don't even last that long. So that was the most powerful thing about this place, was like they're straight on, to get you over, and you see the need for people, like they have a burden,
Yeah.
and when you come into the home, then you're surrounded by people that are in the same situation as you, coming from addiction and brokenness, and just what Nate was really saying, just you really cultivate a prayer life, and you're getting the word every day.
Yeah.
You
So what does the structure look like then? Like talk me through like you arrive, like, are there wake up times? Are there like
there's wake up
eh,
times.
yeah, I bet.
So
yeah.
let me tell you.
Oh, no, I've like heard from a little bit.
There's wake up
Like
times.
talk us through like the scheduling, because every day you've got certain things that you do, right?
So Monday's the free day.
Okay.
So Monday's sort of like it's your day. Well, Monday and Saturday
Okay.
basically is the free day, and you need a free day
Yeah.
because, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's just jam packed. Like you're getting up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
6 a.m. wake up. You have to be in this. We call it a sanctuary. It's basically like. It's like a living room
Okay.
with chairs in a circle, and from 6:15 you get there. You are allowed to drink your coffee. You have your coffee. Everyone has their Bible. They do some reading.
Right.
Then they do some worship, sing some songs, and then we go into some prayer.
Right.
And then from that it sort of leads to like 9, and then it's scheduled like you'll have cleanup. You'll clean the house.
Yeah.
Then you'll have breakfast. Then from breakfast, there can be different things on it depending on the day.
Sure. Right.
So sometimes they'll come and they'll serve and clean the church. I think that's on a Tuesday, and then other days they'll go to Asda. We'll do a shopping, then we have like book reports. Then we have people come in and do teachings. People who have graduated the home before, pastors, leaders in the church. Different people will come and just impart and give wisdom and teachings, biblical teachings from the Bible. So each day is like it's sort of different, but it's packed.
Yeah.
But then you have to be in bed at a certain time too.
Right.
So
you got curfew then.
we got curfew, so it's 10 p.m. And you have to be accountable when you go out. You have to be with staff, and you can't really do things yourself. You're not allowed a mobile phone until you're there for it depends on the individual. Like it could be 6 months or whatever, but it's all for the benefit of the individual, to basically be taken away from all them things so that they can focus on themselves, focus on getting themselves better, and focus on connecting with God basically. So it's packed. The days are busy.
Yeah, it's discipline, It's really disciplined, but it's what you need at that time.
Right.
It's what you need. A lot of people that go into the home probably didn't have discipline in their life.
Right.
Woke up when they wanted, doing things the way they wanted, and sometimes that can be bad in a certain sense when you haven't got your own discipline, So really, you implement it, and it's when you finish the home, you take this with you. You take getting up in the morning, seeking the Lord, and really implementing a prayer life and devotion, and really it gives you a hunger then, But it's really good. It's like even like you have shower times and stuff like that. You have people that come from the streets, and they learn to take care of themselves. So it really builds that character, builds who they are, and it really gives them a foundation to really start.
I think as well, but because we're young, we're both. You're 26, I'm 25, so I went into men's from like 4 years ago, so I was young. Like I was in my, I was like 21.
Right.
But I was seeing a lot of older people coming through, like people literally like straight off the streets, like they would have been spoken to in Liverpool city centre. On the streets, and they came in, they were messed up, they were dirty, they maybe haven't showered in weeks, and I think for me it was like wow, like this is real, like addiction's real, mental health is real, suicide is real, homelessness, everything. It was just like, and it scared me in a sense. It was like I don't want to get to that place, and it really brought a reality into the whole thing. It was like, wow, man, this is real. So I had seen a lot of older people coming in and different things, and for me being young, it really matured me as well. It really made me look at myself, and I developed so much in that time, and it was great. It's cool.
Something that I'm really curious about is like, so obviously like this is not just like, okay, it's a recovery program, oh, we also happen to be Christians, like this is like full on intensive, as you said, like discipleship. But I'm assuming that a lot of the people that come in aren't necessarily Christians.
No.
Right? So how does that, like, do they know that coming into this, or like what's that kind of like transition like?
do, but like they don't know the full extent. I mean, if you ask the questions, like
Then
you'll
the
get
answers
told
are
the
there, yeah.
answers, but in the initial phone call, it's like you're not caring about really what it is. You're just wanting help. You're just
Right.
wanting to
Yeah.
get help.
Place of desperation.
Yeah.
You're in that place, and it's like
Yeah.
you'll take whatever you can get.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
because they're so accepting and they accept like anyone from any background really,
Right.
it's like it's such a blessing. But you know, you do sometimes you do ask questions like, okay, what happens there, and they'll tell you and they'll fill you in. But they do state, you know, it's a Christian recovery home. We believe in the Bible, and that's sort of what the structure is going to be revolved around. But
Right.
when you're in that place of desperation, you don't really care what it is. It's
Yeah.
like let just get me into
Get me
that
in.
house, whatever.
Tried everything.
Whatever, you've exhausted every avenue,
Yeah.
so it's like
Wow.
whatever happens, let's run it, let's go.
Yeah.
And you just come in with that mindset. So for me, it was a shock, like coming into the intensiveness of it and the different things. And in the beginning, if I was honest, I was only really there to help with my court cases and just to sort of get a bit of R&R, like restoration, and
Yeah.
come back to my full health and put some weight on and different things. And a lot of people come in like that,
they
right?
do,
A lot of people come in with them intentions, but
Yeah.
they get a touch,
yeah.
something changes,
Yeah.
something
Wow.
happens inside them, and it's like I never want to go back, you know. And for me, it was getting in touch with the Holy Spirit. It was there was moments in that place where I realized God was real. There was
Yeah.
moments in that place where I got touches that I've never had before from the supernatural, and it was
Wow,
like,
yeah.
wow, man, this is real. So
Yeah.
that really, you know, got me, you know, it gave me a burden basically to go out and do many things for, you know, God's kingdom and people who are struggling and lost and
Yeah.
broken.
So not everyone who comes in, obviously they're like up for it at the start, but then they're like, you there must be some opposition at some point throughout the process, or is it just smooth sailing?
No.
No, yeah. So like talk us through that, because that's I
Yeah.
think that makes it real for people, you know, because
Yeah.
this isn't easy to fight off, is it? And I
No.
know
No.
you're given like a great structure and stuff, but man, these are like things that have been on you for a long time, right?
Yeah.
They don't just break down easily.
Yeah, so like for people from different backgrounds, people come from prison, people come from,
Right.
you know, doing their own thing, but they have like problems with like authority and stuff like that, and probably getting discipline put on them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a bit of resistance in a
Right,
sense.
right.
You know, it's a lot of resistance, wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
So you have that,
Right.
and then you have people that are leaving their families, they're leaving their kids, leaving their wives, you know,
Yeah.
to really sort themselves out, and they're probably getting sent there by their family.
Right.
So there's a lot of sacrifice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sacrifice that you have to do, and it's hard, you know. You're only getting two phone calls a week.
Yeah. No, one phone call a week.
One
phone call.
a week.
Right.
You know,
That is tough.
One
and,
phone
and
call.
people
Yeah.
miss their kids, you know.
Yeah.
People miss their kids, and it can be restrained. But that's why it's so important when you get these disciplines and they're getting to prayer, that they're going through a battle.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting on their knees. Then
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it will bring you to your knees. It will
Wow.
bring you to that point where you're calling on God. You know,
Yeah.
and that's when God shows up, as well. So you'll see people come in. They probably have a 3-month plan, you know, and they're like, right, I'm gonna sort myself out and then go home, and you'll see them stay. You'll see them
Yeah.
go through the whole program, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
get a hold of God, or God gets a hold of them,
Mm.
you know. But there's a lot of restraint. It's tough. It's hard, you know. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's literally like one of the toughest things you'll ever do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's so tough, and it's rewarding. It's so worth it, but at the same time, it's very tough.
Yeah.
Like it's so difficult, especially coming from years of just doing your own thing, like Sean was saying, just being able to get up when you want, being able to do what you want. Nobody was telling you what to do, even like in school for a lot of people who, you know, were troublesome, younger and stuff. They didn't like the teachers telling them what to do and different things. So you're coming into all of that, and then you also have your personal issues with your family. Then you have regret, you have guilt for all the things, and all that. Feelings are real and feelings are there, and feelings come up. And when you basically, when you're in addiction, you smoke and you drink and you do everything to suppress some of the stuff that you don't want to deal with. And I know that was the case for me anyway, and I used to suppress, and then when I came to the recovery home and I started to, you know, be set free from addiction and drugs and different things, that my mind began to come back. But with that, there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of trauma. There was a lot of PTSD and different things that had happened that was coming up for me. And that's the healing process, because that stuff has to come to the surface, right? You know, that stuff has to, you know, eventually you have to deal with it. You can only suppress stuff for so long, but there's going to be a day, there's going to be a time that you're going to have to, you know, hit that thing head on. So in that place, that's where it happens, basically.
Yeah. Like, let's like make this even more real, because having an addiction, right? I'm sat here like I haven't been in that same shoe, in that place specifically. So it's like, for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I can see it, the physical aspects of like needing something, like needing whatever was, being used. But like, what about like behind the scenes even? Like, what's going on like up here almost? Like, what, like, I'm sure you guys can explain because you've been in that place, but like that craving for that thing, like what kind of grasp like does that have on your life? Because that's what you're trying to get rid of, isn't it? It's the idea of like that's got that control over you, or that's got that like it's like playing God in your life somehow.
Yeah, that's it. You said it. It's the control. It's got full control over your life.
Right.
It's got full control over your mind, and when that happens, then it comes out in your actions. So you start.
So how do you see that come out in those actions? Almost like
you start stealing from people. Right. You start fighting with people. You start manipulating people. Right, There's so much that comes with addiction, and you know, it's some of the stuff like you don't realize you're doing it at the time. You sometimes realize after, but at the time you don't see it, but the people around you see it. So you know, my family used to see it and used to, you know, talk to me about it, but it wasn't until I was completely away from the drugs for a certain amount of time that I realized, okay, that's the way I was. Like, okay, you don't actually see it yourself.
The distance.
You don't see how manipulative you are, how you sound, or you don't see that.
Right.
You don't, at that time, it's just, you don't see that. You know, all you're focused on is getting the drugs, getting the money, making sure it's selfish, it's self-absorbed, it's all about you. You know, it's all centered around making sure your needs are met, your addictions are met, and all them different things. So you're not focused, and you know, it's sad to say, but you know, you might feel like you love your family, you might feel like you love your friends, but your actions are they're saying different things in a sense, but inside that's not how you that's not how you feel, or that's not, you're not thinking, oh, I'm gonna go out and make them feel this. That's, you know, it's not really intentional, and it's the drugs controlling. It's the, you know, you just get to that place, right?
Yeah, you're enslaved.
Yeah.
You're enslaved. That's it. It robs everything from you. It takes everything from you. You know, and that's why that it impacts your family so much, is because they're the ones that see it. You know, the ones that are closest to you. You know, and that's why, with all the shame and guilt, all that comes up of what you've done to your family, you know. But it's really just how selfish we become, you know. And that's why it's not just about coming off the drugs. It's our character then that has to be dealt with, because we still have that mindset. Yeah. Even though we're not addicted to the drugs, you still have a mindset, me.
Yeah.
Like, we have discipline in the house, like, so you have like 2 sugars and stuff, like others would want more. Like, it's just the greediness can be still there.
Right.
You get challenged in that.
It's like teaching your mind how to like be able to say no, almost.
Right?
Yeah.
Rewiring it.
Yeah.
Rewiring it, putting boundaries. Yeah.
So you're not being selfish, but you're being selfless.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bible is about. That's what God is about.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's how the character gets changed, and that's not easy.
No, mate, no.
The Bible says in the renewing of your mind, and that ain't easy from people that have done things the way they wanted, all about them, you know. But there's a reason why they're in now, because there's something inside that they know it's wrong.
Right.
You know, nobody wants to do that to their family. Nobody wants to rob, steal, you know, hurt people, you know. Yeah. So then when they come there, they come to a realization, and there's a solution there now. Yeah. You know, when you see it, when your eyes are open to it, then, and you catch it, then you're like, okay, and then you're helping others. Then. Right. Wow. You know. You're helping others. So it really is. It's crazy, but it's powerful, and it is. It's amazing. Yeah. It really is. It's amazing. Awesome. It's changing lives, and it's allowing God to do that. You know.
Yeah. I think you touched on something very key as well. And I think a lot of people might be, they're watching this or listening to it and being like, okay, that's great. Like, I don't relate, I've never been in that, but it's a great story, or, it's really encouraging to hear. But you said something about rewiring your brain. And I think we've just finished a series on that, or that kind of general idea. But even if, like, that is just something that I think every human, might be like, oh, I don't struggle with something so big, but we still need that renewal of that mind, or that rewiring, even like related, or like not related to what we're talking about specifically. Do you have any encouragement to people that are maybe listening to this that don't, aren't in the same boat, but that need that rewiring, you know what I mean? Or that need that kind of like, you're coming at it from one angle, but what would you say to someone that's like, okay, well, maybe I'm not that far, I don't need to go to a home, but, I'm struggling in the little things with feeling aligned or rewired, or, any tips or any practical things, for those people?
For me, what I'm getting from that is like, so rewiring, it doesn't, like, even if you're not in addiction or anything like that, rewiring yourself back, like, you can come so far away from God, but knowing that God is so close, so the rewiring is really just touching into Him and reading the Word and seeing the way, that's the way we renew our mind, is how does Jesus think? How would He think, like, and to align ourselves with that and with the scriptures, and just and how when we check ourselves, and when we see things, that areas that we need to work on, or if it's not in line with the Word of God, that's really, there's an error there, there's something wrong there in a sense, and if you're able to check yourself, then you speak to somebody. Some people have blind spots as well, they won't know.
Yeah,
and that's why it's so good to have people around you. Like, that's why it's a fellowship and having people in your life that can speak into your life. So really just be vulnerable, and sometimes that can be hard. I find it hard, but when I do that, it allows people to speak into my life where I need to be checked. So really just surround yourself. That's my encouragement, is just surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you, and and are going to be there for you, and even tell you how it is, to be real with you.
Call you out when you need it.
Call you out when you need it.
Yeah.
Call you out when you need it. That's what we need.
Yeah, that's so true.
So even if you're not in addiction or something like that, but you're just off course, or your mind is gone, or just someone to say, yeah, look.
Yeah. I think, like, I love the idea. I'm a big fan of, like, the whole, discipline and that concept, because it's like, discipline is something that goes, like, beyond just your emotions. It's beyond, like, what you feel right then. Because let's say, for example, you're cutting down to 2 sugars for your cup of tea. Like, that is set. That's your discipline. So in that moment when you're wanting to, like, you have that desire to go beyond that. But discipline is what is like, it's what's saying, like, oi, like, this is the boundary. Yeah, this is your boundary, or this is, like, what's good for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the level barrier, like, kind of cuts you loose. So I love that idea. Like, I'm just thinking about, like, even with, like, the gym and stuff like that, obviously you don't fancy doing it every day.
You don't want to,
like, in fact, 70% of the time I don't want to go and train.
Yeah.
But, like,
but when you do it,
right,
it feels
and
so
I know
much
I'm better for it, right? So it's like, sometimes we give, like, which is something I'm taking away from this, like, sometimes we can give those things quite a lot of time and attention, whether it's emotions or whether it's that. So it's all about that rewiring. And I think discipline is a very practical way of being able to introduce, like, how you do rewire almost something, or
I think see, like, them small disciplines, like the 2 sugars in your tea, to get up at a certain time, they're like little wins.
They are,
and them little wins lead up to big wins then. So then you're more, and it's a fruit of the Holy Spirit then as well. It's like self-control. So then when you're going out into the world, you've had to exercising. You've had to exercise your self-discipline. So then you're able to take that in a lot of bigger areas.
Like, you've trained that muscle.
You train that muscle.
So it's ready for what's next,
gym.
right? The next weight. The next
play. And then always go back to the gym.
As much as I can.
One thing I took when I was in the recovery home was, because I used to look and be like, these are all just little small things. Like, why do I have to keep on top of all this? And I began to realize, someone said something to me one day, you get a lot of different, because there's a lot of older people coming to you, people with experience, although they're addicted to drugs, they've done life, they've lived life, they've had many different experiences. And I used to receive a lot from different people, and someone said to me one day that small compromises lead to great disasters. And I like taking stuff. We've been taking stuff back to the Bible. We like taking stuff back to the Bible. There's a lot. Trust me, there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible. And when I was thinking, it talks about it. It says like the small foxes, the small things that creep up, and the small compromises. Just like you said, like people may not be struggling with addiction. They may not be in prison, they may not be, but there could be small compromises that are taking place that are maybe leading them to a little bit of anxiety, maybe leading them to a little bit of darkness or a little bit of depression, or feeling like they've got no one around them or lonely. There's different things. It doesn't all have to be something big and crazy. It can be something small, but knowing as well that them small compromises and them small things can begin to add up to become something quite big. And that's something that helped me. It was like small compromises lead to great disasters. So I'm cleaning this dish because I'm developing a muscle, a discipline. It's and in a sense it's changing your mind towards like the small things are so important. They're so important.
Oh yeah, they are, mate.
Yeah, they're so important.
Oh man, I could love that concept. Man. You just got to look after what you have in front of you. Yeah. And man, don't set me up, bro.
I was like, I could just leave at this point. You guys could just.
Yeah, honestly, I love that concept. Yeah.
It never
Exactly.
changes ever as you even outside, like even now, like I'm married now, different things, and I've came a long way from that life, but I still have to check myself regularly, like like even with laziness, like being lazy, like just doing certain things. I'm like, man, you can't do that. You need to check yourself. You need to get up and you need to get yourself together.
And like that's what it looks like in real life. If you're like every day, if you're not struggling with something big, if you like. So I love that, man. Yeah. So like as we wrap this up, then like talk us through like that. I don't know if you had that like flick of the switch moment in the recovery homes that kind of like made you think this is it, or made you think like, right, this is now like almost that breakthrough, if you like, because or is it just a slow process, and during that slow process things just get better or easier, or you understand it more? Like, did you have like that a specific moment, or was it more just like as you draw near and like realign and stuff, then you're able to walk out freely almost? I don't know what. So
for me, I think it was the moment when I just came into the home, and it was like, you know what, this is it. Right. I'm going all in. I've had enough. I've had enough of what I've been doing. Yeah. And it was the rock bottom for me. Right. So I wanted to take everything. That was like I was yes to everything, whatever was asked of me. It was yes, because I knew anything else wasn't for me. Right. It was all or nothing. Right. It was all or nothing, and that was the point for me. So we just really grabbed it with both hands, really. Yeah, love that.
Yeah, I think for me, it was a gradual process. There was, like Sean was saying, there was small wins that I was getting. There was little victories, like I was receiving, restoration with my family. I wasn't a believer of God, so at the start it was very challenging for me, because I was just sort of going with the flow and like making it was like I was doing it. I was ticking boxes. I was making sure I was doing the day-to-day stuff. But when I started there was a stage I started praying. I had a court case that I was fighting, and I started praying and asking God. I was like, God, can you help me with this? Basically, can you and that came through. And my case was quite serious, and I was looking at time and stuff with it, but I was able to do my time in that recovery home, do my probation. I was curfewed, everything got transferred. I'm from Northern Ireland, so all my cases got transferred to here, and then I began to, from that I received little victories here, little victories there. Then I began to grab a heart for other people who are broken, other people who are hurting, other people who are burdened. And I'm like, I'm going through all this stuff, there's a reason I've went through all this. I need to use this to help more people, to help lead more people through this. And then after the recovery home, it didn't finish there. There was more stuff. I started getting vision. I started being like, I want to do this, I want to set this up. And then we set up a young adults house, and then from there I became like the youth leader. got that, and then it was like I started, and I was going higher and higher and higher, and as I was going higher, I was becoming further away from this person that I used to be.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So I just kept getting blessings, and I kept going to different levels, and then I started realizing my giftings as well, and I had certain things I could do. Like, I was a shy kid. I was a kid that wouldn't even, my mom would tell you, like, I found it hard to even like order food at a restaurant. But over time, when I finished the program and stuff, I got opportunities to speak from,
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, public speaking. I was like, nah, that's not for me. But that's what this program does. It literally trains people up as well as setting people free. It trains you up. So I got opportunities there to speak, and then from that, it was just like new levels. And then I got married to my beautiful wife. She was born in the ministry of Victory Outreach as well, and I began to grow from there, and it's just been a blessing. The victories have just been amazing, and I've stayed faithful and stayed saying yes to everything that God has in store for me, and I feel blessed.
Wow.
I got everything I ever dreamed of. I never thought I'd be in this position. I never thought I'd be set free from drugs. I never thought I'd be set free from that mindset of just constantly struggling and in different states of depression and stuff. I never thought I would genuinely never thought I would get away from it. But today here I am.
So good, man.
Here we are. Yeah.
Here we
it's
are,
crazy.
set free,
Yeah.
and it's
That's amazing. I mean, my last question was literally going to be, like, you guys are still here in ministry after you've graduated from the home, like, a while ago, so what was it that made you stay? But you literally just answered that, I feel like. Unless you have anything else to add. And then, Sean, I would love to hear from you, too. Like, why are you still here,
Well, God really worked on me, and He did. He changed me as well. Like, I've come so far.
talk about the UTC as well.
The UTC.
Oh,
Give it a nice little plug. Come on.
Okay. So while I was in the home, I really got hold of God. I really seeked Him, and He revealed Himself to me. I got to know Him to a more personal level, and with that, when being in the church, I felt that belonging. I felt like this is where I'm meant to be. This is where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to serve God, not meant to be. I know it wasn't like meant to go back home or anything. I was like, I'm done. I'm all in. So, but we have what you call the Urban Training Centre. So it's the UTC, and we have they're training centres for, like, they're all around the world. There's one in Brazil, Amsterdam. There's two in the States, and I went to the one in South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah,
Awesome, man.
so I was sent to South Africa for 6 months, and that's where you get envisioned, you get trained in ministry.
Wow.
And what they do is they find your giftings. Like, they look at you. Well, you go and you see different ministries, evangelizing, you're preaching, you're doing devotion. It's discipline as well. It's up praying. Really, we pray before everything.
Right.
So it's really spiritual.
Yeah.
It's really spiritual in that sense. But you have a team there that will spot out your giftings, and then they'll work with that. Like evangelizing. That was one of my giftings. Doing drams and stuff like that. So I was able to exercise that.
Right.
And then I was able to cultivate and to be more effective in what my giftings were.
Yeah.
So when you went back home, when you came back to your church, that you could be used.
Right.
You could be used in different areas.
You've been developed.
You've been developed.
Yeah.
You've been matured. You've been, you've been woke. Like, you've been going to, like, over there in South Africa, like, amazing experience.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, revival is, like, right in front of you.
Wow.
We went into schools. I've seen young kids crying in the presence.
Wow.
People broken. People come from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this opportunity to go and evangelize them, set dramas, do altar calls, specialists. You learn how to do the camera. There's loads of different areas. But you really like, you're exposed to the movement of God. You're seeing it with your very own eyes. So it opens your eyes up to our ministry too, of how big we are, how international we are, and how God is really using our ministry. And you meet people from all around the world. People from the States all come from a class. So you have, like, a class, and it's like every every 3 months you'll have a new class come in.
Right.
Wow.
So you'll have people getting like brought up into leadership. So it's really your leadership skills are getting developed in that. So
Yeah.
you're getting little small settings, and then you really grow. You really do grow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, lads, fast man. Thank you so much for your time, mate. Yeah, big takeaways from that, genuinely, and I think that's like for everyone, not just for those who were
Yeah.
in similar boats or are in similar boats, but even like for myself, there's loads I'm taking away
Absolutely.
from this.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, appreciate your time, lads. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
great.
How can they stay connected to you guys with what the church's doing? Feel free to plug whatever you want to plug right now.
Oh, you can follow us
Yes.
on BO Liverpool. So we have like we're an international ministry, and we have ministries all across the world. And the cool thing about us is if you're ever traveling, you can visit one of our churches, because we have so many. We have like, I think, over 300 plus across the world. But we have Victory Outreach International, which is our main international page. But we have VO Liverpool. If you're ever in Liverpool, hit us up.
You have to.
We'll
Yeah.
accommodate
recommend.
you. We have the best hospitality, you know,
Yes.
and we love meeting new people. VO Liverpool. We also have a young adults and youth page, which myself and Sean oversee. It's Third Wave Liverpool, and yeah, feel free to follow. Hit us up if you're in Liverpool.
Amazing.
We'd love to connect, and yeah,
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, Nathan.
thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Sean.
having us.
And thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for joining us at the Anchor of the Week, where we have hard conversations, hear people's stories, and challenge perspectives.
Remember, you can stay connected by following us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Hope these conversations are inspiring you to have hard convos as well.
We'll see you next time. And remember, attack topics and not people.